So we are live. There we go. So we're live. All right. So welcome back, guys. So this is a late night live. So you got me, Mr. 12, over there. It's probably switch up. It's the coordination probably switch up. But yeah, me, P from P.co. We got Drake down there, the DR, and we got Knight. Or you prefer to call Brandon? Which one? You guys don't have to use your preferred names if you don't want to, but yeah. Mine's is Mr. 12. You can call me Winston as well. He's right there. He got his.
Yeah, but yeah. Nice and simple.
Yep.
So what's good, y'all? What's cracking?
Living a dream.
Living the dream. What you eating there, Drake?
I was gonna say, hopefully in that dream when you peeing on the tree. Because that could be bad.
Definitely.
So this is gonna be episode 1. We're doing a full experimental run. What are we getting into tonight?
So we're gonna do some news tonight. News is a little bit touchy, right? But we're gonna do some news tonight. Title IX this came out. We could probably get into a little bit of Minnesota, see what they're talking about. But we're gonna start off with Title IX. I was actually watching this one today, learned a lot of insight from this one, but let's hop over to that one and pull that one up. And so that's what the first one we get started with, where we kind of run through that one, see what they're talking about, get some thoughts. Let's go here. Let's share screen. Let me maximize this one right quick here. A second. But in the upcoming days, it's going to be all set up, guys. It's going to be all set up, ready to go. Share audio. There we go. There we go.
This morning, the Supreme Court is taking up a long-running national debate. The justices will hear 2 civil rights cases on whether states can ban transgender athletes from participating in girls' and women's sports. One case stems from a law passed 6 years ago in Idaho. The Fairness in Women's Sports Act requires athletic teams at public schools, colleges, and universities be designated based on biological sex as male, female, or co-ed. A transgender woman sued because it prevented her from competing on Boise State's women's track and field team. The question here is whether a state violates the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. The other case centers around a West Virginia teen who sued state lawmakers after the state passed a law banning transgender girls from playing on girls' sports teams. The argument is the law discriminates on the basis of sex, which is in violation of Title IX. So far, lower courts have ruled in favor of transgender athletes in both cases.
So
my question would be, what is Title IX? And we need to figure out a definition of Title IX.
So Title IX it protects women's sports. So let's see. Let me pull. I could share the screen.
Yeah,
Let me pull it up.
Yeah, we got to dig into that because we talking about 2 different things here, right?
Okay, hold on. I got to share it on the screen.
There we go.
So this is what it gives us. It says Title IX is a federal civil right law from 1972 that prohibits sex based on discrimination in any educational program or activities. So it's Title 19, not Title IX, Title 19. I thought it was Title IX.
It's not Title IX?
That's 19.
Let me
Let's see what's Title 9. It's the same thing. A part of the Education Amendment. So yeah, it just people from discriminating based on sex. I think the law was created. I think it was, and I'm not versed in this at all, so I don't know fully. But I think it was based. So, well, why was it there?
It says Title 9 is a landmark federal civil rights law in the United States, was passed in 1972. It is the core and law prohibits sex-based discrimination in any school or educational program that receive federal funding. It includes almost all public and private universities, as well as K through 12 school districts. What does it cover? Athletics. Schools must provide equal opportunity for male and female students participating in sports, including similar equipment, facilities, and recruitment, sexual harassment, and assault. But none of this says, it says male and female. It has nothing to do with transgender. That's where I'm trying to figure out how this law prohibits.
Applies. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because nothing here, it says equal rights, which is within the first 10 amendments.
But where it differs, it says discriminate based on. Hold on, I got to read it verbatim because I don't want to read it wrong. Prohibits sex discrimination. I think that right there where it says prohibit sex discrimination. So
Right.
if it's based on sex discrimination, I think that's where they're getting that whole thing from, the sex discrimination. So if I identify as, so you're discriminating against me based on my sex. So that's where it's not clear or it's ambiguous. What do you think? What do you guys think? And I could kind of, like, as you read it, you can see where they're pulling it from. But like you said,
still, it's where does so you're basically saying a transgender person is a woman.
Well, let's see what some of the other panelists got to say. What are your thoughts so far? What do you think about that so far? And we could go through, and I'll let you run your question.
What's up, Brandon? What you thinking?
I mean, I'm just thinking, just because you say, you're a female, that don't make it so. You were born male, so you have other advantages over naturally born females. So, I think they need to dive deeper into that and make the distinction. If you were biologically born a male, but you identify as a female, maybe I need your own league.
Okay.
I'm good with that too. By now, they should have their own league.
I agree.
Right?
I mean, it just seems like the simplest thing. I don't know why that hasn't happened yet. If it's a bunch of males and females on the team, but they was biologically born a male, hey, y'all good to go. Somebody gonna watch it.
That's a good point. You got me thinking about something, but that's a good point. So, Drake, what do you think?
Oh, you muted. Can you unmute him?
There you go. I unmute you.
Yeah, you good. You good.
I'm good now. I think there's a bigger picture.
Okay.
So you start with male and female, and then pretty soon you have the pedophile coming in, saying that they have rights to do. That's just a bigger picture for me. That's where my mind is. I'm not sure. I don't know if you guys can connect that, but it's a bigger picture. So by wording, if they can, say male and female, what Winston was just reading, and they can say, okay, I identify as a male, so you have to accept that. You know, by scheming on the words, they can come in and destroy pretty much what we know as life,
Yep.
and do what they want, because that's where we're headed anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, even though giving them their own league, just giving them their own leeway, just giving them a foot in the door. You know, just say, okay, we accept that this is life as it is, instead of, you know, debunking it at the base. But, you know, like I said, I told you before, I introduced myself as a minister, so my perspective is always going to be kind of biblical. So, you know, the bigger picture is they're trying to infiltrate our children at a young age, to make this stuff normal, which is they're almost, you know, doing a good job at. But you know, parenting starts at home, and but you know, they're influenced by all these laws that are in school, and we have no clue what they're doing in school, especially the public schools. So you know, if you have your kids in private schools or whatever, you have a little leeway on what they're doing, but this is a bigger picture. They're trying to destroy our kids, and to this Sodom and Gomorrah type of thing. That's all I can describe it. It's a Sodom and Gomorrah type of, you know, if you know the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, you know the ending of it.
Uh-huh. You muted.
I'm muted?
Yeah.
So I do agree with what you're saying. And I'm gonna push back a little bit, right? Back a little bit. But that's if you believe in the Bible, right? So
Yeah.
what do you say for a person that is not a non-believer? You get what I'm trying to say? How?
Yeah. If the person is not a non-believer, that's the thing. So I believe the Bible is the truth. So
Right.
I can't really say to a non-believer and let's say, okay, I can't push what I believe is the truth on them.
Okay.
I can't do that. You know, for me, I know it's the truth. That's just my 2 cents. That's just my opinion according to a non-believer.
Okay. So where I was going with it was not you. Let's take you out the equation, right?
Uh-huh.
And where we're going to bring it back to Title IX is, let's say I am a non-believer and I'm in an alternative lifestyle and I don't know anything about the Bible, right?
Uh-huh.
If this is my current position, you know, how does that apply? You get what I'm trying to say? Because we always try to look at stuff from our lens, even though
for sure.
you get what I'm trying to say. So
my lens is just how I see it.
Exactly.
So, and a different perspective is definitely needed. Understood. And so how would I that's difficult for me to answer because I stand on how I stand, and it's just, and I'm gonna kind of say it's kind of it's biased, because I stand on what I stand and I believe what I believe, and you know, I come from a background of preachers. They tell you the truth no matter what. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, I don't know if you ever heard Pastor Geno Jennings. He's quick to tell you. He'll tell you you're going to hell. He'll tell you quick. and the truth is the truth. Like you know, and there's no other way I know. But I do, okay, another biblical perspective here. I do have to do everything in love.
Yeah.
I do have to do, and I'm not like Pastor Geno Jennings. So I have gay family members and everything, all of that. So I do everything out of love. I don't treat anybody any different, no matter what they do. But if you ask me about a law or something that's going on, I will come from that perspective.
Yep.
Regardless. So like if we're just living and we're doing it and we're living the laws, If there's an opportunity for me to shed the truth, I would. But if we're just, in a work environment and we're just coming to get our money and go home, I'm gonna let you do what you do and go home, because I'm gonna get my money and I'm gonna go home.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I have nothing else to say.
And all of that is fair. And that was a setup for a question, because I like the way you answered, because where I was going with that is, that's how, when I was listening to the case, I was listening to for about 4 hours while I was doing some stuff today. And this is where exactly where that case brought me was, what do you now do? Is like, not, even though America is a Christian nation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do have some people, right? Yeah, I like the air quotes, right?
yeah.
Supposedly, right?
Yeah.
So for the non-believers, when you go to trial, you can't use it.
You can't use that.
So now you have to give context to what do you do? Because now these are, like, let me give you a couple the key takeaway that I got from it today, right? And this is how bad, like, when you touched on the PDFs earlier, right? This is where they're going from, right? They're going from high school to college. Yep. And if they pass something, and this is all hypothetical, if they pass something for college and high school, it applies to 6-year-olds.
Middle school and all the way down to elementary.
They go all the way down. So guess what? They could argue on the basis of, when a child is 6 years old, like boys and girls playing together, they could argue from that point of view. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They could argue from a 6-year-old position where, well, when they're younger, boys don't know this or girls don't know this. And I was like, my head was like, what? They could argue from a point of them being 6 years old. And when you in elementary school, you play with girls. All the games are with boys and girls. And that one took me for a loop, where it's like, wow, the law would go all the way back if that's the parameters. I'm just kind of giving you, and this was a hypothetical. I'm like, they open a whole bunch of stuff that we're just thinking biblical, and they're thinking more global, and it's like, dang, we're out of touch. If you look at it, even though we may be right based on the Bible, when you pull it out, the Bible is only a portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm trying to say? So that's where I was kind of going with that one, so.
But the thing is, I'm not to cut you off, but the story was already written in the Bible about Sodom and Gomorrah, where we're headed. You understand what I'm saying? So to know the ending already of the story, where they're trying to go, is where I'm coming from, because I know the end of that story. When they finally implement where anybody can do what they want to do, you know what I'm saying? And in the Bible clearly states, men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of passion, and you live freely as you want. And like I said, just to know that story has already been written, and the end of it, because we already know it, I know the end of it already, and like I said, I'm kind of biased always going to be biased on my answers. Otherwise, I'm humble. I'm coming in. I'm going home, and I'm gonna do what I do. You do what you do, and I'm gonna do it out of love, completely out of love. It's always show love. And that's just, I don't know. I can't stand any other way, or just to be global with it. It's that's what it is. It's a global thing, and I know the end of the story.
Understand.
You got to add anything to that, Brandon?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand what he's saying, truly, but it's complicated, because
it's very complicated.
I hear some of the things you're saying, and it kind of bring me back to, like, when we wasn't allowed as African Americans to be a part of major sports, or we weren't allowed to be in their schools because, they're trying to corrupt our families. Sometimes that rhetoric, it goes both ways. It can be used in the wrong way, but at the same time, it's like you don't want to deny them as people, whether we agree with them or not. And I said they could have their own league, and it does get to a point where you're just okay. You are opening up the doors to something.
Something, yeah, for sure.
But it's really difficult when you look through the human lens of how many different experiences we done had, how many people have been stopped from doing things because of how they look or how they think, just because the status quo was saying no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. And guys, I'm gonna be devil's advocate. That's not my preferred position, but and this is how I think too. That's how we think. We try to make sure we're not in like an echo chamber, right? So I pull back and I kind of question the stuff because these are the same thing. How we come to like a better self in one's point of view, because you got to come out, see what they're dealing with, because if you're just dealing from one angle, you could lose the whole case. Because I'm listening to the case and I was like, wow, they're going far and wide. You know what I'm trying to say? Because in the end, they were talking about they had a whole bunch of hypothetical for this guy, and some of these hypotheticals, like, all right, so if they can't participate, what should they do? You know what I'm trying to say? So, and that's what's going to lead into this question. I was going to hand this one off to you. Is like, I know you said your their own leagues. Who said their own leagues?
Well, yeah, he mentioned their own leagues, but like I even said before, the only way that they should allow to perform in that sport is if it's not available in the other gender sport. You know what I mean? So if there's female track and male track, then the males should be running with the males. If there's none of the male track, then they got to run with the females. You know what I'm saying? Now, the only sports that separates that is football, things like that, where there's only a men's football team. But you know what? Women have the opportunity to play men's football if they want to. You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
It's just like there's baseball and there's softball. How many women do you see trying to play baseball? They try, but once they take that fastball, they realize this ain't for me.
True.
You know,
I remember the same thing with football. But let's go down to Brandon and you share your point with this.
Yeah, go to Brandon with that. He got his own league brewing.
Yeah, look. Like you said, if there's women's track and there's men's track, give them the trans track. Because the problem is when you got Usain Bolt in a wig running against a bunch of women, it ain't right. It ain't fair. But if that same man in that wig wants to run against other men in wigs, hey, go for it.
Trans
that
track.
question becomes
trans track. Yeah. Hey, don't trademark that. Don't trademark
that.
So that question now becomes: is there going to be two leagues? It can't be one league because it now needs to be two leagues.
Two trans tracks.
No, but they got their money. They're deeply invested into the main league. So that's they're not going to try to do that. You see what they're doing at the NFL. They're forcing the people to the players to wear their logos, and some are turning it down. So they're deeply invested. Their goal is not to have their own league. They want to take over. That's their agenda.
Well, that's always
take over what?
To implement, to make it normal, to be just and part of everything.
Right, but that was for a different. I would say that was based on a different regime, right, or past president. Because when Trump came in, he kind of thing. I'm not going to go into politics, right? We hold off on the politics right now. But what I was going to say was with these, I just wanted to follow up with this one was, would it be now two leagues? Would it be two additional leagues? Because I know even though the court case was talking about ladies playing in guys sports, they don't have a problem with ladies playing in guys sports, like earlier, like we said. But if you have it the other way, shouldn't it be two? Because I think some people would have a problem with ladies playing in guys sports as well. But I know the competitive edge, they would kind of, I'm not saying that some ladies ain't going to make it to the top, but you're always going to have
None
a
of them will.
pushback. Huh?
None of them will. They'll get annihilated.
Exactly. But you're going to have some good ladies that make it up there, but
No. No. You can take the best NBA player, female player. She can't even get up on the high school kids. They're going to work that. It's proven. You know what I'm saying? It's called testosterone, bro. When that kick in,
testosterone.
there is no cure for what's going to be unleashed, bro. It doesn't matter. There has to be separate leagues.
Yeah, I don't see any woman playing in the NFL at that speed. Like you said, the testosterone. There's no way they can play in the NFL with that.
No.
Yeah, I don't see that happening at all.
We had the kicker though, the one kicker, but boy, she flopped. They had the lady.
Yeah,
kicker.
they did.
They had, I think two ladies.
Yeah, there's been a few college kickers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's about it. I'm talking about taking them hits though.
Nah.
None of them taking them hits.
For that.
Nah, definitely not.
So
you got bodies flying in the air like that.
So all right, so we're gonna transition, but before we transition, P, you had any more thing to close this one out?
I'm gonna say it again, man. I don't think just like Brandon, there should be another league. Now, okay. I'm okay with them participating in women's sport. However, I don't believe they should be placed against them. For instance, in Connecticut here, a few years ago, there were two girls that were transgender that became number one in the state, right? What ended up happening was the female that was supposed to be number one got number two and number three college looks because there's a guy in front of her. Now, it's not fair any way you look at it because they robbed that woman of being the best female in her state. And the fact that she knows that that person's a male and there's nothing she can do about it, she can work as hard as she wants to. It's never going to happen. And I just think that the Supreme Court should rule that this should be an easy ruling where they need to figure out, like, listen, they got to be another way. You know what I mean? Y'all could play with us, but y'all can get the prizes. You know what I'm saying? If y'all want to, remember when there was a time when they gave out like 4 trophies? You know what I'm saying? Now you go to see your kids or your grandkids and everybody gets a trophy. That's not how life works. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to be like, listen, if you want to play this sport, you got to be a man because that's who you are. You want to get in this, and they got to make it clear. I don't think they need to make it confusing for our women out there because that's the only ones getting hurt, the women, the girls.
All right. So in closing, Brandon, you got anything to add to this one before we close out?
Real short, real simple. Trans track, they can run against them.
All right. And Drake, you got any on this closing out one?
Okay, well, one more last thing I was thinking about. We're in America, right? So we got to know who runs the court systems. And if your pockets run deep, you can persuade a decision. So the decision is going to go. It has a lot to do with the money, who's involved, and who's backing who. So it's probably not going to be as easy as it sounds. It's just going to be. It's going to come down to the money, really, where that money's coming from, because that's pretty much what runs the United States. Cool. Who's back in that court system again? And you go there, they say OJ got away with murder, but he had money. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a lot to do with who's backing who right now, and that's where the decision's gonna go.
Crazy. All right. So we're gonna transition. I'm not even gonna introduce this one. I'm gonna let this one play, and we come back with a response on the other side. Let me set this one up.
Wanda, stand up here. Wanda, please. Wanda told us earlier this month that she could not have a baby anymore. So I impregnated her with the word of God. I'm going to impregnate everyone with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. Impregnate. I had somebody in the congregation ask why I'm wearing Christian Dior and Christian Louboutins. Because I'm a Christian and I walk in the blood of Jesus. Give him some praise. I'm a Christian first and I walk in the blood of Jesus. Give him some praise. Give him some praise. So we are raising funds for a project in Zimbabwe. Yes, we are trying to get our congregation over in Africa. Amen. Raise $4 million for that. Amen. Hallelujah. That needs to appear today. We are not letting anyone leave until we reach our goal. Amen. Hallelujah. Life savings here. Give him some praise for that. Give it his life savings up. Apostle Richie says, baby, can you help me? I said, can you help me? I said, can you help me? I'm going to finish this word here, and I'm going to do the Christian version. Don't worry about it. I'm going to do the Christian version. I'm driving this Billy Bentayga because I believe in Christ. Can you leap on your legs like a survivor? Can you leap on your legs till the money fall out your pocket? Jesus, you are, Jesus, you are, Jesus, you are. Still praise the Lord. I need you to pray for me, right? Hey, come on, man. Hey, get your hands off my car. You gave tithes and offering? No. Shut the fuck up, man. What's wrong with you, man?
You muted. Hey, who's that? Drewski's crazy. Now, who's he
crazy? But I'm glad Dre was laughing.
Hey, was he talking about Dr. Umar there too?
Nah.
Was he making fun of somebody?
Not Dr. Umar.
He was doing
Marvin.
Marvin.
Who was that that said close the doors? Didn't let the people leave until they got a certain
Marvin Sapp.
There it is.
I think it's Marvin.
There it is.
Oh, the one that the lady gave him half of what he asked for, and he was
no. Marvin Sapp. He had the people donating, and he wasn't getting what he needed, so he told the ushers to close the doors. He wouldn't let nobody leave till he got the right donation.
Yo, wow.
So,
oh my God,
is this skit reality? That's one of the biggest concern. Is do you think this skit mimics reality?
Of course.
Go with P first. We say hold on. Let's unmute Dre.
Yeah, we could start with
some cases.
Yeah, let's start with.
So we let you start first. I chose this one because you were here too.
Let me start with this. I mess with Drewski because he don't exclude nobody. He makes fun of everybody, and that's why I mess with him. But that's those skits right there. He's taken what he's seeing in American churches and put a skit together about it. There are some cases where there are some preachers out there, there's wolves in sheep clothing, that are about the money, unfortunately. My pastor drives a nice car, and I take my kids to the church now, and they'd be like, oh, he's about money because he got a nice car. My own kids tell me that right now. But I try to tell them because I know my pastor as a kid. I know that he had to retire his job to do what he's doing. So, but I do know that there are some people out there, wolves in sheep clothing, pimping the gospel, and it's unfortunately it's a real reality. Some people,
Okay,
yeah, that's definitely reality. Some people. I don't know if you ever heard of the dude in Brooklyn. I don't know if he got arrested.
The bling bling bishop. Yep.
Yeah. So my man,
Creflo Dollar.
Nah, not him. Not him. Another dude.
Dude in
There's
Brooklyn.
so many corrupt, huh?
There's a lot. There's a lot. I mean, but you got to look at it. The devil, he has to come to deceive somebody. You got to have some truth in it. You can't just come with a bold-faced lie and just get over. You got to have some. You got to mix the truth in to get somebody deceived. And that's what they're doing. You know what I mean? You got a lot of pimps out there. They're just pimping women, pimping the gospel, pimping whatever. But the dude in Brooklyn, he had dudes run up in his church and with guns. So there's always repercussions to all of that. You got the federals, they're gonna come and snatch you up once they find out. So you never get away with it.
That's just like that movie there with Ice Cube when they went to rob the church.
Yeah.
And if you know the church pulling in bank like that, you know what I'm saying?
They coming. Wolves is coming.
Crazy.
They coming.
Now, what make people want to give that much money to somebody like that? Like,
I can only think of the deception, how they would take this, just like I want to say just how they took parts of the Bible to use for racism.
Yep.
And that's what these people are pimping the word. They're taking the money parts or the whatever, they're taking that to deceive people. You know what I'm saying? So you got the slave Bible. They only took out the little slave parts out the Bible and they didn't give you the whole thing. So, and then you got these pastors, they call them prosperity pastors, prosperity preachers. You know what I mean? And you do have those, unfortunately. Yeah. Just like my man Geno Jennings said, they're going to hell. You can't do God wrong and don't think you're gonna get away with it at all. That's just not gonna happen. You can't do his people wrong either.
Cool. So Brandon, we're gonna come to you next. What do you think about that skit?
I mean, it's funny because yes, we see it so often. Creflo Dollar, the bling bling bishop, just everything that's going on with just the absurdity of the church. And mind you, I'm a God-fearing man, but when I see a pastor or somebody driving something nice and the rest of the congregation is struggling, it irks me to my soul. So, if Drewski want to be hanging from, little wires or whatever and just being extra like they do in the church, yeah, that does happen. And, I don't know how they get over on people. Yes, they do pimp out the word, but, just hope the spirit of discernment can help everybody out to see through it. If you're doing right by the people, if you're doing right with God's word, hey, more power to you. But if you out here performing like it's the Super Bowl halftime and you taking the people money and you ain't doing nothing with it, I do hope that God does come back around and get you, because it just don't make sense.
So you bring up a good question, right? So is it the church should be doing more for the community?
I feel like they should. I feel like they should. If they do, that uplifts the community. That's where that faith, that faith is seen. Faith is small as a mustard seed, they say. If you are doing for the community, you uplifting people, you're doing God's work right there. You're gonna end up increasing your flock, and hopefully people will continue to do the same thing. Good resounds on good. That's my opinion. I would hope.
Good. Because I think it was it Osteen? He didn't want to let the people in the church because they just got the carpet done.
What was that? That was during a storm, right?
Hurricane, or your flood, the water flood.
Yeah, something like that. I remember just hearing the clip about it, but yeah, that's kind of crazy. But because I remember the guy who was I know what I've seen it from. It was on Joe Rogan, when the guy was on Joe Rogan explaining that he was helping out the homeless shelter, and the guy Osteen wouldn't let the people in the church. He probably did, he did not, but that was his position. It was like it should be on the church to help more of the community. This was a while back, but that was one of the things where I kind of got that from was, should the church be doing more for the community? I think so, but how much should the church be doing though? That will be more of a better question.
Now, when you say community, are we talking about the church community or the community that the church is in?
Good question.
Because at the same time, like, okay, we all sitting here in church, right? And we seen Brandon getting 10K from 12. And then we saw Brandon getting 15K. You know what I'm saying? Where do they think this money is going? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did they say that the building fund? How much is the building fund? You know what I'm saying? And when you see, like, they got to say, okay, if we got scholarships or we may create different things for the church or whatnot, but you see some of these pastors got Bentleys. They got jets, private jets. I've seen a few of them. Like, what are we talking about? Like, we in the wrong business.
So I think I can't answer the question, but I could add to it, right? I can't remember the pastor. He died in a plane crash. He was from the Bahamas, black guy.
That was what's his name? I study him a lot.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember his name right now, but he had the concept right.
Yes.
What he did with the church was he rethink how people looked at the church. So instead of keeping a church, what he did was he rented it out. So on Sundays, it was a church, but after church was done, it became a rental facility where now you could have like a concert, you could probably have a wedding. So the building is always bringing in money. Instead of it just always being a church, they were making buku bucks because they were rented out the church.
His name was Miles something. Miles
Monroe.
Yeah, Miles Monroe, yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Miles Monroe. Dr. Miles Monroe.
Dr.
Exactly.
Miles Monroe. He had it. He was very deep, and he had a lot of things figured out about the church.
Yeah. So that's why I kind of see, and that's what we kind of get into is like, hey, should a church only be, well, that would be more a question for you. Is a church only supposed to be a sacred place, or should it be kind of how Dr. Monroe had it, where, hey, it's a church on Sunday, but now they had the facility rented out for the rest of the week, so they were making money. It was like, as it's done, a wedding come through. As it's done, it's a picnic, and they were the church always had money.
Provided, yeah.
They always had money.
I worked on the board, on the treasury board at my church for a little while. And the treasurer department, those group of people are in charge of all the funds. So I'm thinking most churches in America is run like this. If not, a lot of them are. So you got the treasury board, and you have the ministers boards, you have all different type of committees. So, but the treasury department, they run the money. So when we used to have our meetings, we decide how much the pastor gets paid, how much the drummer gets paid, how much all the musicians, how much the maintenance of the building, if the building needed this, if the building needed that. And we did rent out the downstairs for Monday through Friday. It was like a daycare or a Head Start. So we did that just like Dr. Monroe's had that set up. We still do it like that. And like if the pastor is in charge of all the money, something is wrong.
Yep.
If the pastor is in charge of all the money, so like if the pastor, whatever the church spend the money on has to go through this board and has to get voted on. So that's what I know about the church. And then there's one more thing that I want to bring up. When they were threatening to cut the food stamps, a lot of the churches said, "Yo, we got to step up and we got to feed our community." That was our take. A lot of the churches in Hartford, that was the take of, okay, since they're going to cut the food stamps, we got to step up. We gotta, because most churches have a food pantry. We got a food pantry as well. So I don't know if here in Britain, if you go down North Street over here, you got the homeless wrapped around the corner. The churches Monday through Friday, they're giving out food. Our churches do it like once or twice a week too. So a lot of the churches do, but like I said, if the pastor is in charge of everything and running everything, there is a major problem. Something ain't right. So if you got a committee that and I'm thinking that's what most churches how they run. I just know just my small part, the small part of the church that I'm a part of. That's how I know that's run.
Okay, Brandon, you want to add to this?
No, I mean, look, I don't have much experience in terms of how the church is run, but I like to hear, the committee running things, because it can't just be one person. Too much power go to your head. And at the same time, renting out the church, that is genius, man. You could fund so many things with the money that you're making from it. So I hope all these churches can take note one day and do the same thing.
And a lot of them do. A lot of them do. A lot of them don't. It's just the ones that you don't see, they are doing it, and the ones that are on, in the visual and everybody's sight, maybe they are, maybe they're not. I'm not sure.
So I'm gonna pose a question, right? Because I think this is the reason why, and this is something that I thought about one time. So when I was at this church, they were renting out the church to a Indian church, right? So it was like a Christian church, and they were renting the downstairs church to like an Indian church, and they kind of had service going on at the same time, right? It wasn't exactly the same time, right? But it was similar because I noticed it, right? But the question then becomes, right? How could you have church at the same time while someone else is praying to a different deity or God in the same vicinity? And that's what took me on that loop, was like, wow. But the answer came when I found Dr. Monroe, right? So that's where I kind of, my stance changed a little bit, because I could understand now why they did it. But at first I was like, why would they rent out the church? But what's anybody got anything to add to that?
Man, I'll tell you right now, I don't have no problem with that at all, because I go to Catholic church, I've gone to Baptist church, I've gone to all different kind of churches. At the end of the day, as long as you are praising some higher power, it's all good. You may call him God, I may call him Allah, you may call him Adonai, whatever. It's all the higher power, and it's all about 2 or 3 gathered in his name. That's a church. If y'all want to do something at the bottom, we doing something at the top. We all worshiping. Yep. That's the biggest thing.
Mine is, I think that for me, that's a little different. I get your point, right? I get your point, because when we go out there, it's like we got to bring people to, I don't want to say bring them to Christianity, but what I'm trying to say is, I don't know the right way to phrase it, but if someone is praying to a false deity, you kind of want to help save them. You get what I'm trying to say? So, but when you, because hold on, right? I hear you, right?
Go ahead.
Once you try to level the playing field, right? Because I got into this argument at the barbershop. I didn't get into the argument, but this was that was the same saying. When you start saying, if everyone is praying,
gentlemen, sorry, I gotta go get my daughter from work, but I have to leave the conversation right now, and it's getting real interesting.
This was your part, Dre. This was your part.
Salute. Yeah, I know.
We'll check you later.
Let me leave you guys with this. My pastor did enter a conversation like this, and I was part of the committee, so I know about it. And because they didn't believe in the same God, he did not allow them to rent the downstairs. He said this is a holy temple. He didn't allow that to happen. That's just my take, because I know that happened at my church already.
Gotcha.
Cool.
So, gentlemen, I got to take off. All right.
All right. Be safe.
Good to see you.
All right.
Be safe.
Yes, sir.
Not Mr. 12. You've been the moderator, but I need you to dive in on that one.
So what I was saying was when we make the blanket statement, when we tell everyone, like, hey, as long as you praise in a higher power, what if the higher power is Satan to you?
Hey, switch
You get what I'm trying to say? So
No, I understand it. I understand exactly what you're trying to say. But the crazy part is, we ain't gonna know what's the right higher power until we done all had to meet our judgment day. When we meet the maker, oh shoot, it was Buddha. Damn.
we got a comment. But yeah, I mean,
oh yeah, that's D-Cat. He support the channel, man. He always chime in on every video, every comment. What's up, man? And send a shout out to you as well, man. Yeah. But what I was saying, and Brandon, back to you, that's what I was saying. It's like, because let me give you a little context of the barbershop conversation that we were having, right?
Yeah.
What they were talking about was they were saying they basically was muddying the water and what's good and what's bad, right?
Yep.
And it was kind of like a statement, kind of a blanket statement down the middle. It was like, yo, as long as you praying to higher power. And I said the same thing. What if you praying to like a Satanist, like someone is praying to a Satanist, and you say if that's your higher power? I was like, yo, you can't take good and mix it with the bad. You get what I'm trying to say? You can't tell me up is down and right is wrong and tell me it's all good. So we as people now gotta be like, all right, we can't speak. I can't speak for evil people. You get what I'm trying to say? But that's how they muddy the water, because as long as we start saying, as long as you pray into higher power, what if their higher power is different from ours? What if their higher power is again going against us? So I can't now in good faith now turn around and say, as long as you pray into a higher power, when your higher power is trying to kill me. You get what I'm trying to say? So
I get what you're trying to say, but look, this is where you hit them. If they out here praying to Satan, that ain't a higher power. That's a lower power.
Right. But I know you know better, right? I know you know better. But for that individual or those people that don't know, right? That's their higher power. You can't tell them that's not their higher power. So I'm like, so when I hear it now, I separate myself. I'm like, no. You can't tell me Satan and God is the same.
Right.
You can't tell me that. So that's how they muddy the water. When we say blanket statement, as long as everybody paying to the higher power, we good. Nah, I had to stop that. Nope. And that's kind of going back to the same thing with the Title IX. As long as they all kids and they playing, that's how we end up in that situation. You get what I'm saying? They're all human. They all play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, look, listen, millions of people done lost their lives in holy wars over the same thing. My God greater than your God. Oh no, he not.
But yeah, I understand. But that's a good icebreaker. P came up with this one earlier, right? We wanted to touch base on Iran a little bit. I'm out of my depths on this one, but let me just run the clip on this one, and we come back on the flip side, and we share our comments and our thoughts on this one.
All right.
So I kind of ran the wrong clip right there, but the I was trying to get the one with the narration on there, but that one was kind of visual look of what's going on over there in Iran. I'm not too versed on that one. P, you got any context for this one that you could add?
Well, they looking to overthrow the regime. They're tired, and it's going to be a civil war. We don't know, but the people there are uprising. I know the government has been turning on the protesters. There's been reported I think it's almost 1,000 people that's been unalived by the military over there. The numbers, and it could be more than that because they shut the internet off a few days ago.
Yeah.
So the outside world can't see what's going on. So they basically massacring people, and it's a horrible situation. Horrible situation. I mean, at some point, I think our president may get involved. He already mentioned getting involved if protesters were killed, and I think that number's it's over 1,000 right now. So we don't know what's gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it ain't nothing nice right now to talk about because innocent people are dying just because they want freedom.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it's kind of all about.
Okay. See, my point of view is somewhat selfish, right? I'm gonna tell you why. If I'm here and we can't figure out our problems here, sometimes I try not to pay attention across, and that's kind of how I see it sometimes. It's like what happened like Venezuela, that's kind of closer to this hemisphere. So I pay attention and get more context to that one. But like when they're across there, it's like I don't know who's killing who. So that's why I'm not informed as well. So that's kind of my point of view on it. Some people are strong defenders of both sides, and I'm trying to figure out why, but that's kind of my position. I don't know. How about you, Brendan? You got any context for this one?
I don't have context for it. I do try and watch the news. This is the first I'm seeing of that. I'll definitely be looking into it. But it's a mixed bag for me because at the end of the day, although America need to mind their own goddamn business. We got too much going on over here to be sticking our nose anywhere else. But at the same time, if this country could fight for their own independence because they was tired of getting taxed, them people over there, if something's going on in this injustice, fight back. Fight back.
Facts. Now, me personally, I know what's going on over there, but I'm not like 110% vested in it, where I'm saying, oh, I'm losing sleep because what's going on. Man, how much things are going on in Africa that nobody ain't paying attention to. You know what I'm saying? And you look at it, and if you have any humility for yourself, you're going to be like, hey, that's a bad situation, whether you like them or not. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But then you always got to stay focused on what's going on at home. But just like how we got the situation going on in Minnesota, that was a situation that Bush and Obama got into, and that's how those people get here. So you look at all these different people in this country, and a lot of them comes in drones. Now, like you said, America needs to get their nose out of business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they get into this stuff with Iran, right? All of a sudden, within the next, 10 years, you're going to see a bunch of Iranians coming in the country, letting them in because of this going on and that going on. And if you look at all the different cultures in this country that came in drones, was because of a situation Americans stuck their nose into, and they had no choice but to bring them here. You know what I mean? We saw it with Iraq. We saw it with Afghanistan. We saw it with Somalia. We saw, Venezuela. I mean, go back to Haiti. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And no matter wherever they stuck their nose, those people end up here. And it's sad, you know what I mean? Because a lot of these people, like I was telling 12 before we came on, you just born on the wrong side of the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only problem you had. Born into the wrong situation and you're gone. So, you know what I'm saying? It's sad to say, but that's how the life goes. But I'm not 100% say I'm going to lose sleep over it, but it's definitely things that we should definitely pay attention to because you should still learn from it even though it's not home.
Right.
You can still look at and learn something from it.
Okay. Yeah, man. And like P just said, it's like I'm not invested in it. I know people are dying, and that's what gets me is the loss of life. And due to the loss of life, I do care, but how do you kind of now even formulate the right questions to ask, because when those people come here, they ain't messing with you, really. I can't say that for everyone.
No.
But,
and most of them come here and end up talking shit about you anyway.
And that's why I'm kind of getting these are not true for everyone.
No.
And this was the same conversation we were having a year ago, and it was like, when people come, they don't assimilate. They try to make it. Yep. The cat was just quiet mentioning something. That's kind of what I was going to touch on Somalia. But yeah, that's exactly. I was thinking that same thing from '92. That's how the Somalis came here in '92. So that was our offline conversation with P.
Yeah, that was under Bush and and Obama. They let all those Somali people in.
Yeah, so it wasn't only them. I remember Bosnia.
No.
Yeah. I remember Bosnia. I remember couple from.
But these Somalians are the ones that got the protections when they came in.
Cool. You know what? I probably might segue into that one. Let me think. Let's segue into that one. So let me pull that one up. Hold on. So P, hold it down. Let me pull up that one that I seen with the ended of the temporary TPS.
Right. So now, how many of those Somalians actually became citizens?
A lot. I don't know the exact amount.
Because once they get naturalized and become citizens, it's not something you could reverse.
Yeah, they could reverse this. That's what they were talking about. That's exactly what it. No, that's exactly what Trump was talking about.
Yeah, is it because the way they came in?
No, because you can't defraud the government. You can't. You know what I'm saying? That's different. Stealing and a regular. You know what I'm saying? Once you start defrauding the government, that's a whole different ball game.
Now, how much of that is proven to be true? All the corruption, so-called corruption, because you see it in your face, but
you can't say so-called.
You don't believe.
So you can't say so-called. I think the estimate was the estimate keep going up.
I know. These numbers don't seem real. Now, how are they getting their hands on all this goddamn money?
You're asking the right question.
How? You know what I'm saying?
So that you're asking the right question. Let me run the video on the back end. On the back end, we continue. Let me run the video for the TPS. The Somalian TPS ends. Let me pull it. Yeah, my internet froze.
We have some breaking news to share with you on this Tuesday, as Fox News is reporting that the Trump administration has ended the temporary protection status for Somalis in the United States. We're taking a look here at a social media post courtesy of Fox News, and Fox News Digital saying this: the Trump administration is ending a temporary protection status for Somalia, affecting several thousand Somalis currently living in the U.S. and several hundred currently living in Minnesota under the protection. Somali migrants with TPS will be required to leave the country by March 17th. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem told Fox News Digital in a statement, quote, "Temporary means temporary. Country conditions in Somalia have improved to the point that it no longer meets the law's requirement for temporary protected status." That statement went on to say, quote, "Further, allowing Somali nationals to remain temporarily in the United States is currently And contrary to our national interests, we are putting Americans first. Bringing us out to a live image that we have of the White House over in Washington, D.C., as I continue to cite some more of this reporting courtesy of Fox News Digital. Sources tell Fox News Digital that there are 2,471 Somali nationals currently in the U.S. under TPS, with just over 1,300 in the country with pending TPS applications. The move comes as DHS continues ICE operations in Minneapolis, Minnesota, after a widespread, roughly $9 billion fraud scheme involving members of the Somali community plagued.
Hey, he said 9 million or 9 billion?
An estimated 600
Billion.
Somali nationals who are protected
Billion?
by TPS live in Minnesota. Now, Somalia was granted temporary protection status in 1991 as a result of an ongoing civil war in the African nation. Former President Biden most recently extended the protection in September of 2024. Now, the decision to end TPS for Somalia also comes a day after Minneapolis, the Twin Cities there, Minneapolis and St. Paul, sued the Trump administration after a historic federal immigration enforcement operation was launched by ICE and DHS. Last week, during ICE operations in South Minneapolis, a woman was fatally shot by an immigration officer as she drove her vehicle toward agents, prompting agitators to riot across the city and in cities across the U.S. The woman who was killed, Renee Nicole Good, a quote domestic terrorist, saying,
All right, so we're gonna pull this one back. So it did give you an answer there, P.
9 billion.
So you still think it's not fraud?
I'm not saying it's not fraud, but how do a bunch of illegals come here and get hold of $9 billion from the government?
Perfect question.
And they've been running the scheme for more than 10 years, it seemed like, more than 15 years. You know what I'm saying? And it's been going on. Like,
so when this was a question that I asked. I was like, yo, how can people from a different country, we're talking 92 on, right, come to a different country? Because what do you expect? I'm all right. Let's clarify this. Not all of these people are bad. Let's make that clarification, right? Because that's kind of what's going on here. Not everybody that come from one of these countries are bad. They do have good people, because I met some good people, right? But if these are the same people from what's the movie where they robbed the boat?
Captain John?
Captain Phillips?
Yeah, Phillips, right?
Phillips.
So, and that's what they do, you get what I'm saying? Because when we look, or if you do the research, I think they said Somalia was the second to last, well, no, I think it was the first or something like, I can't remember how they worded it, of corruption. Don't quote me on that, but that's what they were saying. It's the place where you have the most corruption, right? But I'm not trying to shed a bad light on them, right? Because like I said, I've met good ones. The ones that I met, they've been best people. You know what I'm saying? So I would never think about them in that light, because hey, I haven't met a bad one in my life yet. But based on these frauds, it's like this: how do people of different country come here and defraud the government that much?
Yeah. And that's the same question I asked, because when they all came here at some point, they were all illegals, right?
Yeah.
So how did they get that much control over the government? And this ain't no $5 million. We talking 9 billion in the B.
And rising.
And the thing is, the government ain't even realized it's being missing.
Well, and that's what was one of the things. I try not to go into the politics side of it, but I know some of the people on the ground were saying that they try to reach out and figure out how they were doing it, and they weren't sharing the information. If you look on TikTok, they got the videos of people, like, you know,
I've seen people trying to even like attempt to infiltrate their system, stuff like that. But at this point, it's too late, you know.
Yeah, this point is too late. Yeah,
you got to send Somalians in if you want to actually infiltrate. You can't send no other nationality. Hey, can you watch my kids? What does it cost to watch my kids? Well, you ain't from this community. We could tell.
Yeah,
you know.
So Brandon, what do you got on this one?
I mean, look, you know, like you said, I've never met. I don't know if I've ever met a Somalian, but regardless, like to do even that billions, like you said, there's got to be some kind of end game possible to make this happen. You came to this country with nothing, and you getting that kind of money. You are an industrious individual, whether it's fraud or not. Yes, from the government.
From the government.
But like they said, it's temporary. Y'all was never meant to stay. I hope you enjoyed it, but you got to go back to where you was at. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So you got to think about this too, right? If they've been here since 1991, they have nowhere to go back to, unless they were funneling money back to Somalia to build some houses or something,
or some better fishing boats. I don't know, but
so that was.
They said Somalia improved enough for them to go back. I don't know what that looks like. But if you knew it was temporary from the beginning, you got to get your stuff in order. Even if it was from 91.
Exactly.
So what I was going to add some context to that for you, P, was that's how they figured out the fraud. The amount of money they were sending back to Somalia was more than the GDP of Somalia.
Whoa. What? Damn.
You get what I'm trying to say? That's how that's
so they were actually sending money back home.
Yeah, so they were sending money back
so they looking out for their people?
Right. So they were that's how
they're not even greedy, they helping out.
Right. They were sending back home, but it was more.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
So, and it's been happening. It's only just because of that kid doing the video, and I think it was around the same time he shed a light on it, and it just blew the can open.
Yeah,
it just blew it open.
Wow.
But I think other people say they got other states like that. You know, so it's like
it's got to.
Yeah. You know, I think with all of that stuff, right? I'm like Brandon in the sense where I kind of hold the same position where, you know, it's like to work hard, go to school, work hard, and you don't get the same returns. I definitely feel cheated. You know what I'm trying to say? Because it's like this. That's our tax dollars. We're thinking it's going to go. It's like you're always thinking, hey, the tax dollars the government said they're going to allocate for other people are going to help people. And when you think about it helping people and those people are living way better than you, it's like, why am I paying taxes?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Why am I paying taxes? Because if you see some of the houses that these people were living in, you can't afford it. They were living in mansions, you know, so some of them, not all of them, you know, so it's like this. Like I was sharing this with some people one time and I don't really care. It's like this. I like how the Polish came, they got a Polish community. The Italians came, they got an Italian community. I don't see anywhere where they have like you don't see a Jamaican community. You have areas where West Indian people live, but you never hear like a Jamaican community. You know what I'm saying? You hear Little Haiti, but it's just where those people, is it fully established? No, it's not established. They only know about it because only Haitians live there, like down in Florida, where that's all they could, that's their community because that's where they all settle. But they don't have like a Haitian bank. They don't have like, you know what I'm saying?
Nah.
You go to, it's like, we over here in New Britain, and you go to the Polish community, it's set up. You got the Polish bank, they got the Polish food, the community is open. You could go in, you could buy pierogies, and you know what I'm saying? It's a nice community. Pierogies, you know? So,
but you got to remember, all them people ain't been hit by the stuff we've been hit with. Slavery, just even colorism, hating each other because you lighter than me, you darker than me. We don't have it within us to get along, to forge those resources together and do as one people. I mean, it would be absolutely great, but we have been the most damaged people in the history of the world.
Oh yeah.
The Polish people, hey, yeah, they can have their pierogies in New Britain, Little Poland and everything. Have they people, that's what they ingrained in family. We come from a disconnected family. What happened?
You know, it's
No,
I think he
clicked on it.
changed
Okay.
the
Oh shit.
you know what's crazy too? It's like when we look at a lot of these communities, right? And a lot of times we think that they doing good, they thrive and whatever, which they are. But what we don't always know is how much help they get on the back end. Because a lot of these different communities and different cultures get assistance from the government.
Yep.
Oh, and they don't tell us that. We don't find that out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just like look at the election that just went on, and we look at the side that lost. They didn't even have an agenda in there for black people. And it was a black candidate running. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? You know?
Yeah.
And you look at it and you be like, yo, y'all must think we're a bunch of fools. You know what I'm saying? And I always tell people that because people always, slavery's been over for this much year. And I said, but y'all don't realize that it's still going on today. Y'all don't understand the way things work when a guy uses his pen and make decisions for the next 30 years that affects black people when it comes to either going to prison, you know, becoming a felon so he can't vote or participate in the vote. You know, but yeah, I mean, that is definitely one of the cultures that been stepped on the most. And every time they get back here, they find a way to bump them back down. Always. And that's around the world. That's around the world. You know, if you look across the world and you see what's going on in Burkina Faso and Nigeria and Mali and South Africa, and they trying to overthrow all these governments, you know, and there's ICE and what are we talking about? You know?
Yeah.
But it's not too late. Anybody out there, it's not too late. Dr. Umar may have sold us on a dream, but we can still do it. We can still do it.
Hey, in that Drewski skit when he was talking about the money for the church or something, I thought he was making fun of Dr. Umar with the school because you remember he was taking donations and stuff. The school, how long he's been building this school?
Yeah, it's been like 20 years at this point.
Yeah, and when we still ain't get the school,
I ain't seen the building.
He's always coming up with some excuse.
Dr. Umar, you're the chosen one. You let us down, man. Reality shows with Drewski and whatnot about where you would date a white woman and all this. Well, you don't know. Build the school. Build the school.
At this point, man, who wants to go to the school?
You right.
You know?
You're right.
Let me see. All right.
But that's crazy.
All right, let me pull up a next segment, right? Just give me a second. Let me pull up this one. I'm gonna pull up a real segment. Just bear with me. This is when we gotta get the sound effects. Pete, you gotta test your sound effects, see if they're working.
I didn't put anything on it, the new bar on the board. I didn't put any new ones in yet. I gotta figure them out. Because what it is on my StreamYard, I was able to download a bunch and I put them right into the system. Yeah. So sometimes I'll do them from in there.
Oh, BCAT said, what happens to anyone caught with fentanyl? Nothing.
Huh?
In the comments, DCAT said, what happens if somebody get caught with fentanyl? Nothing. You die.
Where? In America?
I guess so. Ain't nobody doing nothing about fentanyl like they should. You just hear somebody die. Somebody died. Somebody smoked it.
Yeah. That's one of them things where everybody just stay away from it. Now, what are they actually using it for? Now, I don't think we can say the word. Can we say that word?
Which one?
That word?
The F word right there. I don't think we can.
See, I'm over here messing up, Lord.
Yeah, you don't want to say
No,
too
no,
much.
no, no, no. So if you're talking about it, if you're the way how they YouTube explain it, right? YouTube got relaxed on how they say certain stuff. If you're having a discussion on it, you can use it. But like, let's say you're trying to do it for nefarious reasons.
Oh, no.
You get what I'm trying to say? That's not what we're doing, because we're using it in context for a discussion. We're not. Before, they used to, oh, you can't use certain words, and how do you have a conversation if you're changing the meaning of everything, But that's kind of how they, the new policy was a little bit more lax. As long as you're discussing about it, you don't have to be too worried about,
All right.
But
you come up with different names like Fenty.
Yeah, if you come up,
Yeah. I always try to do that. You don't ever want to say the real names because sometimes they hit you with.
Yeah, sometimes they try to strike it. They try to strike,
Well, tell your boy DK, don't be getting me in trouble.
Nah. He means good. He means good. Nah, he means good. Which question there, Brandon?
Yeah.
You want? I normally do this, right? But you want, what kind of conversation you want right now? You want a good one or a lay back one? Let me see. I'm trying to load something up. I'm making your choice.
I don't give a damn. Let's get into what we're getting into. We here. We've been here. I don't give a damn.
Hold on. Let me load up this one. All right. I'm going to load up the one that I had. I actually had a couple ready to go tonight. So here we go. Let me load this one up. This one, the one I had loaded up. It's going to start playing right away.
So I was getting to know this guy, and it had been a couple of weeks, and he expressed to me that he liked me. I like me, so of course, yeah, I could see that for you. And so when I started to tell him what my standards are as far as somebody liking me and expressing interest in me and stuff like that, he asked me, was I leaning more towards materialism? Keep in mind, y'all, the actions were things like getting flowers, doing dates, getting in where you can fit in financially. All things that I do for myself and that I'm accustomed to when somebody is expressing genuine interest towards me. And I fear that y'all not lying. We had the conversation. I'm asking him, is that something that he's going to be able to attain? All of the things. And keep in mind, y'all, prior to this conversation, a couple weeks ago, we talked about finances and the difference in where he lives versus where I live and our different socioeconomic status and background and stuff like that. And so me saying what I said to him wasn't far-fetched at all. First of all, I don't even deal with men where they feel like that's far-fetched, right? But what I'm trying to get at is I dismissed him. Sometimes in life, when people are not willing to meet your standards or have actions behind their words, it is absolutely okay for you to dismiss them. It is absolutely okay for them to not meet your standards, but the decision is up to you if you want to keep this person in your life or not.
You muted.
So that's when we get into this question. And I'm going to just reword it a little bit because this one was the test question. So I would reword this one as, when do standards, or I'm trying to reword it because I had two ways I wanted to present this one. Is standard the same thing as expectation?
That's what it sounded like he was making it to be. And I don't think that what she's saying, her expectations are not standards.
Okay.
Because she irked me the whole time she was talking.
Hey, you ever watch Roger Goodell speak?
Nah.
Yeah.
Yo,
NFL,
he would have a 1 hour conversation about nothing. Nothing. And when you leave, you're gonna be like, yeah, what did he just talk about? I don't remember, but it sounded good. Man, she ain't talk about nothing.
Nothing.
No, I ain't going nowhere with her. I ain't even taking her to friendlies.
But that's what I'm trying to figure out, though. It don't even sound like you're actually in a relationship with this individual. It's like y'all in the talking phase, but y'all talking about finances and, oh, are you gonna do this? You gonna do that? Huh?
But she good by herself, though.
She could and she could stay that way.
She could take care by herself, but yeah, it's a lot of missing context in there, man. And we all older, so we could see the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You could just see it in her face, like she ain't telling the truth.
She's not telling the truth.
You know
I dismissed him. No, you want somebody to take care of you, and you ain't even got to that part of the relationship yet.
I'm gonna push back a little bit. So I didn't want to lead. So the way how I posed that question was leading. So that's why I didn't want to ask the question like that. But I think in the talking stage, you should explain certain things that you're looking for, right? Because you don't want to jump into a relationship and you ain't asked about finance. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this. I think people get married and they husband or wife have over 100,000 in student aid,
debt,
financial aid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like now, once you get married, that becomes your debt too. So if you wasn't planning for that, and these people don't tell you the debt that they came with, you know what I'm saying? Now you married into something blind. So I kind of give her credit for talking about finances and all these other stuff, and that's some of the stuff that break up marriage.
Mr. 12, come on. You said marriage. The expectation she listed, she ain't even getting close to a ring.
Nah.
All right. Now, if you talking about what you looking for, I'm looking for a woman that's gonna, nurture me, that's gonna support my dreams, this and that. That's what we talk about in the talking phase. But if you want to talk about student debt and whatnot, we gotta get somewhere. We gotta, I ain't even talking about proposing just yet. We gotta be a couple months down the line. You know what? Maybe we should think about moving in together. Let's talk finance. No, what's she talking about? No.
Or we go to Olive Garden or the Cheesecake Factory.
Exactly. That's how you started off at the very end. This woman ain't talking about that though. She want flowers. She want this. She want Ruth Chris off rip. We ain't doing that.
Okay, devil's advocate. So
go for it.
What if her expectations are like similar to guy dating to marry? What if that's kind of her point of view of it? Like, you don't got time to waste. I've seen ladies like that where I've seen clips where ladies like, yo, I'm 32, I don't got time to waste. You try to marry or what?
So this is what happened. One, they're going to get stuck in the wrong marriage. They're going to make the worst decision ever, and they're going to pay for it either the next year or 5 years down the road. Two, I always tell people is like, listen, everybody's at a different point in their life, and you need to understand just because you're ready, the other person might not be ready.
Right.
And you need to figure that out at some point. The older you get, the easier it is for you to see. When you're young, dumb, full of cum, however you want to put it, you're going to jump in. You know what I'm saying? But the older you get, some of these decisions they make is the same decision they made the last 3 times. And think it's going to work the 4th time when they failed the first 3 times before. You know what I'm saying? So
okay.
It's yeah, I mean,
if you 32 and you dating to marry, you kind of long in the tooth to be doing that. You done fumbled a couple of times to get to that point. Like DCAS said, you like you're not a caveman.
Here's the thing. The fumble is okay. Nobody's perfect. But the thing is, the standards and the expectations, or whichever one she had, is so high that she can't even date herself if she wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So what am I wasting my time for when you wouldn't even get yourself a chance? Because you don't even meet your own expectation. You know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I might pull a Mr. 12. You gotta save her, man. You gotta nurture her. You gotta bring her out of that darkness, man. You gotta show her, like, look,
save her.
you're looking at the wrong things. That's right. Yes. Save her, man.
What Kanye said? Gotcha.
He got.
J. Cole, don't save it. She don't want to be saved, right?
I love that song, but that's all right. You could be Captain Save Her.
And
no,
you can turn that hoe into a housewife.
So I'm on your side, but I just gotta pan it out. I gotta, do my job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I seen the same things that you guys are saying, right? And these are some of the stuff I got to sit down and also see. I didn't think so. I gave her credit for trying to figure out but I like your point too as well. Was once you start building, yes, you talk about finance, but some of the points I think she was trying to make was too early. So I think she had a lot of standards which were mixed up with expectations, or expectations and her standards were mixed up. You get what I'm saying?
So the other thing I was gonna say is, what number date is she on?
Good question.
Is this date 1 or date 15?
She said they've been talking.
Right, but for a woman, that could be, and I'm not going at y'all. I ain't talking about y'all. I'm talking about this woman. That could be 3 months. It could be 6 months, because we don't even know what on the roster he's at. You know what I'm saying? Because
so different question.
Let's just be honest. Huh?
So a different question, right?
Okay.
At what point should you be able to talk finance with a lady? Just give her 6 months, 9 months, a year.
Y'all gotta be at least dating. That's your girl, boyfriend. I mean, y'all could brush over stuff like that before. Now, if you know she got a good job and you got a good job, that's a starting point right there. Now, of course, you want to get into the debt and the things like that, but you're not gonna just marry her within the first 2 months. But you're gonna learn that as you go along, because the longer you spend with somebody over time, you're gonna eventually learn what they're about. So I think some women, not all women, they rush into that so fast that it scares off the men. Because if you're a man building and you protecting what you got, and a woman comes in and all she's worried about finances, what are you gonna think? That's all she
wants
cares
my
about.
money. Yep.
Now, I understand that it's in a woman's nature to protect herself and her family, which is cool. But there are other ways to do it. And I think there's this. Now, if you're getting married, yes, that should be discussed. But you can't just start talking to somebody and jump to, you can't skip steps because you spent 3 years messing with somebody and didn't work out. The next person, you got to start over from scratch, from zero. You got to learn that person. And over time, then you make it there. But you can't say, oh, my egg's about to run out in 2 years. I need to go now. Well, Brandon over there. Let's go talk to Brandon. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we also need to know what part of the dating thing she at. What number date is that? Okay. And she didn't seem too sure about anything, which kind of tells me she's in the wrong somehow, because she wasn't really confident. Like, she was kind of like, well, I tried, but he didn't go for it. So, well, I had to block him. Yes, he didn't want to I blocked him, and I blocked his brother, his mother. I blocked everyone today. And she felt good about it. That's okay. I'm sure he got lucky and he bit the bullet on that one.
All right, Brandon, you got any closing on this one?
Man, 6 months. 6 months. And like you said, they gotta be dating. You gotta put a name to it, because we could be talking for 6 months. We could be doing a whole bunch of things, but if a name ain't put to it, it don't even matter what we're doing.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think money is a transaction. Once you see wedding bells and things like that start ringing, then yeah, you transition into that. Like, hey, how are we paying for this wedding? What are you putting in? That's going to tell you a lot right there. Let's have a destination wedding. That's going to tell you a lot right there. You know what I'm saying? So I think she's tripping.
It's way too early to be talking about what she's talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
I like that. So I'm gonna do one more, right? I like that. I kind of like that one, but I'm gonna give you a little one that's a little bit more. So let me pull that one up.
Let's get it.
Yeah, we got more comments for her. Can I put those up there? Oh, I can't put the comments up there.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
No, I was just reading some of the comments because he was talking about her. He said, for her to find that great expectation is dreamland.
All right, let me pull this one up.
Man asked,
she gonna keep
what's
dreaming.
the relationship between you and your baby daddy? There's not one, but he will crash out if he finds out about you. He don't want to see me with nobody else, and he don't want to marry me. So, therefore, are we going to pursue this or not? I can't help what I got. I did it. It's done. What we going to do?
I'm going to run that one back.
Yeah, I was going to say, run that back.
Yeah.
I hate when men ask, so what's the relationship between you and your baby daddy? There's not one, but he will crash out if he finds out about you. He don't want to see me with nobody else, and he don't want to marry me. So, therefore, are we going to pursue this or not? I can't help what I got. I did it. It's done. What we going to do?
What the hell is wrong with
The
her lip?
reality is,
Yeah, you could start with that one, Brandon.
Ask, so what's the relationship between
I got to take these off. Hold on.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I like this look right here. This one's cool.
Boy, talk about a toxic relationship. Can't nothing good come of that. You can't be with somebody because he gonna get mad and y'all not working out. So what? You just both gonna be alone? That's just weird.
That should sound like Diddy and Cassie.
It's
the same thing.
I mean, it is. It's just, look, when a baby involved, you gotta listen. You just gotta be careful who you have kids with. At the end of the day, you attach to that person literally for the rest of your life. It ain't the 18 years. You're gonna always share that kid.
Yep.
You know, the one thing I could say, as ghetto and as bad as that should sound, at least she's honest. You know what I'm saying? At least if she steps to me like that, I could be like, you know what? Because a lot of chicks today ain't gonna tell you that. You ain't gonna find out till somebody banging on the door. Who in there? Who there? What's going on? True. You know what I mean? So at least she know her baby father crazy or whoever it is. But it seemed like she still allowed him to hold that over her though.
That's the point that I was going to get to.
At some point, I think if she really wanted to get away from that, she would. But it's still something there, whether it's the power, it could be money. You know, I'm not going to say she got daddy issues because that's another story. But something's going on. You know,
it seemed like she liked the drama. She just too nonchalant, too carefree about it.
Yeah.
Well, what I could say and what I picked up is she is still in love with that other guy. You get what I'm trying to say? The way how she said it is like, yo, he doing what he doing. I'm gonna do what I want to do, but I want you to know if he come across here, he gonna beat you up. You know what I'm trying to say? That kind of thing is like he's doing what he doing. I can't control him, but if he come over here, he gonna whoop your butt. You know what I'm trying to say? That's one thing I did see because ladies don't. Well, I can't say ladies don't, but some ladies won't do that. You know what I'm saying? If they're in a new relationship, they will do everything to protect their new relationship. I know
Exactly.
the guys are the protectors, but a lady will go through certain lengths to kind of like, yo, I don't want to live in this area because of this. Because like you said, P, you know, with how you said it, is like, hey, you're glad that she's up front, but if you can move or, you know, protect yourself, you're going to do that at all costs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's straight up with it, but at the same time, any sensible person gonna go into that and be like, nah, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yep. You're not
You know
about
what
to
I'm
beat
saying?
me upside the head.
Yeah, well, you don't know what's coming.
You right. You right. I mean, she being
And a lot of,
honest, but good
and
Lord.
you gotta believe when they tell you certain things. A lot of these guys will be like, nah, shit, no, believe it, bro. Believe it.
True. Yeah.
Hey, you should put that last comment up. We could react to that last comment. If we went back. You can read that, bro. You can see that.
Yep. The thing is, most women think that when they find a great expectation, that man won't look for that in a woman. Always looking for something.
Yeah, and it seemed like she keeps her, but like, okay, she's using him to keep her options open. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because
because
the dude still gonna probably want to hit, but he gonna move on. He ain't gonna stay around too long. You know, there's a lot of thing when you look at it, man. It's kind of a player mentality type thing. You know,
okay. But this
at
one
least that's what I see, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of how I looked at it in a sense. Is like there's some kind of connection to her with that guy.
Yep.
And she's letting them know up front, because you won't lead. Trust me, we won't lead in with our ex.
Hell no.
We would never. It's like in your right mind, I would never lead in with my ex.
Now, the fact that they have a kid together, she's obligated to let you know she has a child.
But you won't lead into that though.
No,
I won't come to the internet and say that. If I'm looking for a relationship, that's not going to be my strongest attribute. I'm not going to come to the internet and say, hey, you know, if you get with me, my baby mama crazy. Guys don't say that.
No, that's a liability. You closing all doors.
Yeah. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, but I do understand, and I respect the point that you stated, P. She is real about it. But the reality is she's excluding herself from most people too.
Yeah.
Only person that's going to get with it is hookup culture. Smash and run.
Well, that's probably what she wants.
That's a good point too. That's probably the strategy. Because
You know
no dude ain't going to stay there long enough to kind of build. Because if you come over, hey, baby, go to the babysitter, you come over the house.
Next thing you know, you get trapped with the next baby daddy. Then what?
Yo, stuff out here, man. You really got to be careful, man, because there's so much trouble out here, man. Wow. It's crazy. And she's real confident too.
Yeah.
She's very confident with that.
Definitely.
Man.
So yeah, that was it in a nutshell, man.
This is our first run right here. It wasn't too bad.
It was a good trial.
Yeah, it's a first run. If y'all watching this back on a rerun, make sure I hit the like button.
Definitely.
Get this video out to more people. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. And we got to send a shout out to DCAP, man. Every video, every post, he always comments, man. I thank you for that, man. Keep me going. When I seen it, remind me of the what's the young kid name? Speed. That one subscriber turned into many.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Definitely big up to Aisha Speed and DCAP for that. But what we're gonna do, public service announcement. So we're trying to even out the panel with some ladies. So on the replay, when the ladies watch it back, I got a post, or you could email me. You could find that in the info section if you want to join the panel so we can have a dialogue. We don't want it to be an echo chamber of all men. We want to have some ladies on the panel where these conversations, and they could help us with the linguistics of ladies talking points, right?
Mhm.
We don't want to speak for ladies. We want the ladies to speak for the ladies and the men to speak for their men. And like Brandon said, they have their own track team. the plus get their own track team. So and we open the dialogue. So if you want to join, have a part of this Discord, we plan to go live Tuesdays and Thursdays around 9, from 9 to 12, and well, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
East Coast.
East Coast time. Yeah, thanks for that, P. East Coast time. So come back on Thursday. We're gonna try to do it. And if the numbers coming in, we try to get more days. But for right now, we want to kind of secure it. And today was only supposed to be a test.
It was a test.
We just hit live because we're used to going live. So, shout out to P.
Let us know down in the comments.
Definitely. So, anything you want to say in closing, P? You could plug away. You could do your plug.
Oh, I'm good, man. You see me down there, Peapod Cove. You can find me there. Peapod Cove Life, Peapod Cove Clips. Those are the 3 different channels that's kind of going right now. But right now we're here hanging out late night Lime. And this is where we're going to be at Tuesdays and Thursdays after 9. Let's do it.
Cool. So, Brandon, you can say whatever you want. I don't know if you want to promote your social, but you could give your word of the night.
my word of the night?
Yes.
Man, listen, whoever's out there watching this after the fact, watching it right now, express yourself. Be free with it. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got a right to speak what they want to speak. And we want to hear it.
Exactly. I like that. So I want to thank y'all. This was the late night line, where conversation and different perspective happen. We're hoping to hear more from you guys too as well. So you guys can leave your thoughts, comments down below. So that's it. We're out. Peace.
Good evening.